Hello everyone, welcome to the series on game theory and us. In this video, let's talk about artificial intelligence related layoffs that have taken the world over. Let's build a game theoretic intuition behind the AI arms race. In this video, we will use the concept of investors and employees to understand the situation. To set the stage first, let us redefine what an investor and employee means from a game theoretic point of view. So, an investor in our case would be an entity, a market entity that will have the ability to change the incentive structures for employees to play in, right? Now, these entities could be government entities or major organizations or even private investors. Employees, following the same logic, would be the actors or market participants who would play within the rules established by the investors, but their incentives or their objective is to maximize the payoffs based on those incentive structures. Now, these rules for investors and employees, they may appear recursive, but that is completely okay because a lot of real life situations, people play the part of both investor and employee. In a certain situation, among certain group of people, an individual may be acting as an investor where they are defining the incentive structure, but in certain other situations, the individual may be playing the role of an employee where the rules are set by someone else and they are playing to maximize their payoffs. I will refer to a recent publication titled The AI Layoff Trap, which is apparently going viral around multiple social media platforms. The link to this paper is mentioned in the description below. This paper posits that in a competitive economy, the actors or the firms are trapped in a AI automation arms race, so to speak, that is detrimental to themselves as well as the economy in general and other players in general. So the worst part is that this is not some improbable outcome that really may happen. However, this is the likely outcome, what is termed as the Nash equilibrium. Let's recount some of the recent artificial intelligence related layoffs that have come in news at the time of recording. On March 31st, 2026, Oracle reported that they are laying off several employees and they are increasing their AI infrastructure spending. Meta announced on April 23rd, 2026 that they are reducing 10% of their workforce, that is close to 8,000 employees, and they are not filling around 6,000 of open positions. At the same time, Microsoft announced that they are offering a buyout to 7% of their US employees, close to 8,700 employee base in US. So the easy story here is that artificial intelligence improves productivity. The companies don't need as many employees, so they can capture the cost reduction by laying off employees. However, this is not the complete story because this misses the game theoretic analysis required to understand the larger effect if every firm or every company starts to take decision like that. So when a company lays off an employee or replaces them with artificial intelligence related solutions, they are capturing the benefit out of it, in terms of reduction of the cost. However, the employee was also earning wages and the employee could also be the consumer of the services. So when the wages go away, part of the demand goes away as well. So what that means is, from a firm's point of view, they are maximizing their return, which is kind of private for them based on the cost reduction. However, the damage done to the demand because of wage reduction gets externalized to the broader market. In simpler terms, the benefits of the automation is private for the business. The damages caused by the automation is social. So from the perspective of one firm, reducing the cost by automation is the rational move. However, when a lot of firms start doing the same thing across the board, this leads to reducing the demand, overall demand. It leads to weaker wage income and worse overall outcome. Now, this is a trap that is very well defined by the game theoretic construct of prisoner's dilemma. So, if all firms can restrain the automation, they can collectively do better in terms of profit margins, in terms of demand, maintaining the demand. However, each individual firm is incentivized to automate more and more than their competitors. That is where the alpha is from an investor's point of view. So they all push in the same direction for automation, and this creates what is called as a Nash equilibrium for a much worse outcome across the board. And this is the paper's important point. It is not just that the wealth is redistributed from the employees to the investor. What this results in is the overall reduction in wealth across the investors as well. So the paper makes two claims. The first claim is that more competition leads to making the problem much worse. Now, this is slightly counterintuitive because one would assume that competition improves the output and it improves the efficiency as well. But here, more competition leads to a situation where each firm internalizes less and less of the damage that it is causing to the external participants, and that leads to more incentive for the firms to continue or to automate and overall automate compared to the other competitors, and this can provide a positive feedback loop for continuing to automate. The second claim that the paper makes is that better AI can make the problem worse, not better. And this sounds backward, but the intuition is really simple, that as the artificial intelligence quality improves, so does it improves for everyone else, and the firm is more incentivized to continue to over automate compared to their competitors. This again leads to a positive feedback loop for continuing to automate even when it is proving to be disadvantageous to themselves. So the author describes this situation as what is called as the Red Queen problem or the Red Queen effect. This phrase is taken from a book titled Through the Looking Glass. This is authored by Lewis Carroll as a sequel to the popular book Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. In this story, the character Red Queen tells Alice to run as fast as she can to stay at the same place. Now, this is a useful metaphor for game theory, where all actors are incentivized to work as fast as they can, produce as fast or as much as they can, but there is no visible outcome for any participants. So the paper looks at some of the policy responses that are proposed to address this situation. It argues that a lot of popular policy approaches like retraining the workforce, like universal basic income, like capital taxation, they all reduce the pain of AI layoffs in terms of helping the employees with the kind of mitigating the monetary loss. However, they do not address the key point, which is the incentive behind the automation arms race at the first place. So each firm sees the private gain of continuing to automate, continuing to replace the workers with artificial intelligence, while part of the cost that is incurred in terms of damage to the demand is incurred by the market outside, the external participants. There is also a cost of not automating, because what that will lead to is kind of loss of market share, loss of profit margins, and the investor's interest. Think of these organizations as the employees in the investor employee definition that we laid out earlier. The organizations are playing to maximize their payoffs based on the incentive structures that are laid out by the investors, right? And from a prisoner's dilemma point of view, these organizations are playing like the prisoners who is defecting on their partners. The reason is simple. The reason is the incentive structures are defined based on the common denominator of human intelligence, which prioritizes the survivability, the survival of the corporations. They prioritize self-preservation in terms of the resource hoarding, and all these kind of incentive structures are short-sighted. They are looking at the short-term incentives, and they are leading to a poor Nash equilibrium state. So the paper's conclusion for the cleanest fix is to impose what is called as a Pigovian tax, which is the negative incentive for performing automation, or call it an automation tax. This term Pigovian tax is borrowed from a book titled The Economics of Welfare, authored by Arthur Cecil Pigou. Think of the carbon taxes that are imposed by certain countries, or think of the sugar taxes imposed by some other countries, that internalizes the damage caused by the corporation's action that would have been imposed on the market participants outside the organization. Would this approach work? Maybe. There have been several examples of Pigovian tax showing great outcomes in recent history. So New York City launched a congestion pricing model back in January 2025. Based on city officials' report, the data shows that the city traffic reduced by 11% and the city pollution reduced by 22%. Similarly, England's administration imposed a ban or a charge on single-use plastic bags. This charge reduced the plastic bag usage by 88% among the major retailers, and just in the year 2025. And in 2014, or compared to the year 2014, the single-use plastic bag usage kind of reduced by 98%. So to conclude this video, it remains to be seen how the policymakers, the lawmakers, will create the regulation around artificial intelligence usage. The European Union's Artificial Intelligence Act that came in effect on August 1st, 2024, it lays down the foundation of an implemented framework for regulating artificial intelligence. Some other countries are creating specific regulations around AI use cases. What would be very interesting to see how these government entities and corporations will address the AI related layoffs and the damage to the demand that it is causing. And yeah, we'll see how the space develops in future. With that said, I will end this video here. Thank you for watching. If you would like to see more videos on game theory and social behavior, please like and subscribe. Thank you.